Hello everyone, my name is Leo, and since the last year I have done some pretty important changes to my studio, where the most important one is that now I have embraced an hybrid setup, both for mixing and mastering. Let's talk about it. I started working on my new EP, Art Love Freedom, since around January 2024. Since the beginning, it was clear in my mind that I wanted to do something totally mine, from music composition to recording to mixing and mastering. I wanted the music to be a sort of perfect picture of where I was in that period, 360 degrees. But it was also pretty clear that my abilities as a mixing and mastering engineer were not so great. Therefore, I started, of course, watching a lot of YouTube videos, reading books, etc. In this research process, I was fascinated by some analog external processors, and I bought the West Audio Dion and the FREC tube. I used the FREC tube for the voice and the bass tracks, and the Dion into my stereo bass. And wow, I was blew away by the results. Maybe it is possible to achieve the same results with plugins, but I was simply not able to do it. And I was having so much fun with those processors. Therefore, I started to add more and more analog gear. And now I'm kind of finally almost happy with what I have. Let's describe my solutions. First of all, I have the Mag EQ4 and the West Audio Mimas for the vocal tracks. The Mag is an equalizer that has those very nice high frequencies that are perfect to add air to the voice, where the Mimas is my go-to fat compressor, because of course it sounds great and even because it is totally recallable. In fact, in my setup, you will notice that the most analog gear I have is West Audio, as it is totally recallable. On the other hand, I use analog gear that is not recallable, typically for instruments that I don't have to tweak, as they are always the same. More on that later on. Then I have the Neve 551 and again the West Audio Mimas that I typically use for bass guitar or for the kick drum. And again the West Audio Mimas and the Pultec EQP 500X for bass guitar or kick drum. So here it depends. For some tracks I use the Pultec on bass and the Neve for the kick drum, and for some other tracks the Neve goes to the bass and the Pultec to the kick drum. It depends where I want to go lower with the bass frequency. If the kick drum reign in the low frequency, I put the Pultec and the Neve is on the bass, where if I want the bass guitar to dominate the low frequencies, I use the Neve for the kick and the Pultec for the bass. This is not a rule, of course, this is just where my instinct has led me, mix after mix. But of course this setup could not be the one correct for you. Then I have the West Audio RIA, which is a tube stereo Vari-Mu compressor that I use in the drum bass. This is kind of magic. I mean, it adds a sort of three-dimensionality to the drum sound, a sort of magical patina that I enjoy a lot. Before switching to the stereo bass, I would also like to spend 2 words about the FRECport FT1 FREC tube. This is a very cool piece of hardware. It is a 4 channels analog tube saturation box that can be connected to your computer via USB-C and then can be controlled via a dedicated plugin in your DAW. It has 4 real valves inside, 2 12AX7 and 2 12AT7. I use it typically for the voice and for the bass guitar. And guys, I can tell you how much I love this box. Forget aliasing, as this is totally analog, and enjoy the pure tube saturation digitally controllable in your DAW. I have so much fun with this box. Of course, many people use this box in the stereo bass, but I have other boxes that help me to add saturation to my mix bass. We will talk about them later on. By the way, Neither of the units I'm showing you is sponsored. The video is not sponsored, I'm just telling you my personal experience, and to reach this setup, to achieve this setup, I went through trials and errors, of course. As I said, without any of these companies reaching out to me, asking me to show their units. And now let's switch to the stereo bus. First of all, I have the Wes Audio Dion, which is a stereo VCA compressor. The Dion goes into the Wes Audio NG Tube Equalizer. I have no words to describe it. This is my last addition. It cost me a fortune, but it sounds great. The last piece in my mix bus is the SPL Big, that I use typically to widen the stereo image and to help the bus to be better positioned in the mix, center in the mix. The last piece of gear I would like to mention is the Flock Audio Patch that helps me to connect everything to my audio interface, giving me total freedom and control of my analog chains from my DAW. So at the end, this is my analog chain, which is highly integrated in my DAW, as almost all the analog units are digitally recallable. The ones that are not recallable have typically fixed settings, song after songs, as I use them typically for some specific instruments. I totally don't want to say that such an hybrid setup is superior to a wall-in-the-box mixing chain. I'm now just able to add the colorations that I was not able to achieve in the box, and I'm having so much more fun while mixing and mastering. Of course, I have still a long way to go in terms of mixing and mastering tools, and of course, take my approach with a grain of salt, as I don't want at all to say that I'm good at mastering or mixing, but I just would like to share that for me, as a guitarist, this setup has risen the bar for what I'm able to achieve with my mixes. So that's all for the today video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel, ring the notification bell and leave a thumb up, as it will be of great help. If you're interested in my IRs, or in my camper profiles, or in my Tonix profile, you can check out the link in the card above or description below, where there is also a link to a playlist of songs of mine and to my new EP, Art of Freedom. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon. Bye bye.